Hello, my wonderful, beautiful friends. Guys, welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady, where silly Karens keep confusing regular customers as employees. And in today's episode, OP tells a story about the time a Karen attacks a customer and destroys their property for not serving her, and she learns a painful lesson that she won't forget. Guys, I hope you enjoy the stories. Don't shake your heads too hard. And as always, you can send or link your post to this email right here. Let's dive in. So today, I was at Walmart. I'm a 6'1" female and very pale Caucasian, and I was wearing ripped jeans, sandals, and a Disneyland t-shirt. I don't look like staff. I was doing my shopping, and I noticed a very petite lady who's maybe 5 foot tall, about 15 feet away from me, looking at the top shelf and her list repeatedly. I walked closer to her and picked something off a nearby shelf. The woman then gives me the quiet, polite, I need something off a tall shelf, but I don't want to bother you look. I then asked her if she needed me to grab something for her. The woman asked me to get her something off the top shelf in Spanish. Now, I'm not Hispanic, but I'm about 50% fluent, as I've studied it in school, so I knew what she wanted and handed it to her. We spoke a bit afterwards, and she mostly complimented me on how well I'm speaking Spanish, really. We were going the same direction, so I handed her something off the top shelf in the next aisle. I then told her to have a nice day in Spanish and continued my shopping. A few minutes later, a random trailer park girl who's carrying a 2-year-old comes up to me, and she asks for help. The girl says, "Hey, I need your help." To which I respond, "I don't work here." The girl then says, "I need a bag of rice off the bottom shelf. I need you to bring it to the front for me. I can't grab it while holding my kid." At this point, it's worth noting the rice was 2 or 3 aisles away, and I'm happy to help people with stuff they can't reach, but not because they want to be lazy. I say to her, "I'm sorry, I don't work here." The girl then says to me, "You help the Mexican girl. You Mexicans all stick together." I respond, "I just helped her because she couldn't reach something, not because I'm Hispanic, which I'm not." I then turn and walk away, and the girl says, "I will have your job, you dirty C-word." She then screams more racial slurs, and then she spits on the floor at me. To which I just respond, "I do not work here." I then walked directly to the checkout, warned them, and then left. I live in a different state, so good luck trying to fire me or find me, you crazy lady. Honestly, OP handled that quite well, and that's how a lot of interactions with Karen should be, guys. Short, to the point, and just walk away. Do not stick around to try to conversate with them, because I've read enough stories to know that the more you talk to these entitled people, the worse it's gonna get. And this person comments, "You should have asked her, do you kiss your brother with that mouth?" Oh boy, wouldn't that have been something? So this happened in 2015. Just a few months after my husband had suddenly passed away. At the time, I was a bartender, and I also own a small chicken farm. So I worked nights, and during the day, I would tend to my little hobby farm. Now I say little, but I actually had over 50 chickens, and this will be important later in the story. At the time, I had my cell phone number since about 2011, so about 4 years before I started receiving these calls. Every time an unfamiliar number would come up on my caller ID, it would be a call from someone who's trying to reach a local legal aid attorney, or court-appointed attorney. I would explain that they had the wrong number, and most people would apologize and let it go. Sometimes they would turn around and call right back, and again I would tell them, "I'm sorry, but you have the wrong number. I'm not your attorney." Now, most of the time, I would let it go to voicemail and not bother with it, unless they kept calling, and then I would let them know that they had the wrong phone number. Again, most people were fine and polite about it, but this one time, oh boy, this crazy lady. The crazy lady had called several times, leaving a voicemail every time, and each and every voicemail was almost impossible to understand. About all I could understand was she was trying to reach an attorney, and she was becoming increasingly agitated that said attorney was not answering or returning her calls. Eventually, the voicemails became screaming rants with a lot of cursing. Remarkably, I could understand the curse words. So finally, I answered the call, thinking I would explain to her that she had the wrong number, and then maybe, just maybe, she would quit calling me every day, leaving those nasty voicemails. But no, one day, I picked up the phone and said, "Hello," And the crazy lady says, "This is Karen, and I've been calling you for weeks now, and you have been ignoring me. Why?" I respond, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but you have the wrong phone number." And that's when I hang up. The woman calls right back. And again, I explain to her that she has the wrong phone number. And that's when she begins to curse and tell me that she knows she has the right phone number. I don't keep talking to people who are aggressive on the phone, so click, I hang up again. And wonder of all wonders, the nutjob calls again, screaming, "You'd better not hang up on me again, you bitch. I know you work for that attorney and you are not giving him my messages." I say to her, "Ma'am, I do not know that attorney and you have the wrong phone number, so please stop calling me." I hang up again and she calls back again. And I didn't realize that telling someone they had the wrong number for the umpteenth time was so complicated to understand. I guess I was wrong. The woman keeps calling again and again. She finally leaves a voicemail saying that she has court coming up. And if said attorney doesn't show up for court, she's gonna tell the judge that that attorney took her money. And she'll have the judge call me in court and that I'm going to jail. And I'm thinking, okay, nutjob, whatever. Now, I knew when the number came up on my caller ID that it was a number from a part of the county where the courthouses were located. So I answered, and the judge said, "May I speak with said attorney?" I tell him, "Sir, you have the wrong phone number." The judge then says to me, "I'm not playing games with you, girl. This is Judge so-and-so, and I'd better get the attorney here within a few hours." Now, it was late morning, and the lawyer needed to be there by after lunch. And I said to him, "Your Honor, I have repeatedly told this lady that she has the wrong phone number. I'm not an attorney. In fact, I'm a local bartender at the local honky-tonk, and I'm a chicken farmer. Again, I'm not an attorney." So I continue to explain to the judge that I'm not a lawyer, and I'm up to my elbows in chicken crap cleaning out the coop. And for the record, every time she called and I answered, you could either hear the chickens in the background or extremely loud music from the bar where I worked. I continue to explain to him that I'm sure I stink pretty bad and that I don't know anything about being a lawyer, but I had pretty good knowledge of raising chickens and making drinks. I then continued to tell him that I could probably make it there after lunch, but I really needed to finish cleaning out my coop and would need to take a shower and get dressed, but if he really needed me to come be a lawyer, I would certainly try. I remember telling him I guess I could lawyer if I tried, and that I had done a pretty good job helping my attorney during my divorce a few years before. I didn't even give him time to respond until I said what I had to say. The judge then says, "I don't think that'll be necessary, ma'am. I apologize for wasting your time." I then say to him, "Do you think you could tell the lady to stop calling me several times a day because I'm tired of being yelled at and cursed out for not being her attorney?" I also explained to him that she had threatened me and harassed me and I was really tired of it. The judge assured me that he would take care of it, and I never heard from that crazy lady again. And I would have completely forgotten this, but a few days ago, I got a voicemail from someone looking for an attorney. I did later find out from an acquaintance that is an attorney that I do indeed have the number that previously belonged to a legal aid defense attorney. She figured it out when she added my phone number in her phone for totally unrelated business. Honestly, that woman wouldn't have wanted OP as her attorney anyways. Considering OP owns a chicken farm, she might have just fouled things up in the courtroom, right? Yeah, I'll show myself out, guys. Next story. Okay, so I worked for this company until early 2006. Right after I got fired, I ended up suffering a TBI, but that's a different story. My facial recognition also sucks. On occasion, someone I talked to 45 minutes ago may not be recognized or remembered immediately. So on this day, nothing marks me as an employee. I was dressed in green denim carpenter pants, a black t-shirt, black tactical vest, a green beanie, and a multicolored blue hoodie under the vest. I was waiting to get a couple of keys made. So in front of me, a woman takes out a key that I can only describe as a prison/jail door key. It was thick metal and oddly shaped. Instead of letting her wait in line behind another 4 to 5 people, I explain that they only have household type keys and padlock keys, and I recommend a couple of different locksmiths to save her the hassle of waiting. The woman happily thanks me and she left the line. The next lady asks for 15 copies of 10 or so keys. The employee starts counting out the key blanks before explaining that he had to get a ladder to get more from the overhead. He gave us all in line, about 10 of us, a slip of paper with our line spots / time and date because he has so many keys to cut. And I think, okay, no problem, cool with me. I have other shopping to do. Most of it is right around this area. So I leave, start grabbing my other items, and slip in my wireless earphones. My first stop was the safety pin clips for a folding workbench that I have. That's one aisle over. I find the right drawers, kneel, and start pulling out the wrong stuff and sorting out other things to proper locations while looking for what I need, when all of a sudden, I smell beer. Someone basically then smacks me on the back of my head, causing me to turn and look over my shoulder. There stands Karen, and she's drunk. She's a woman, at least in her 50s, with graying blonde hair, shoulder-length pigtails, and yes, little pigtails, and she's wearing a knee-length, dark blue pinstripe skirt with a matching vest. Also a white blouse with liquid stains and oversized stained red bow ties. The woman screams at me, "Make these." She then pushes 3 medico keys into my face. I scream at her, "I don't work here," going back to finding my 4 safety pins. The woman then smacks me again, and this time my glasses get ripped halfway off my face, and I'm looking up at her screaming, "What the F?" The woman then demands, "Just make them. I'm tired and I don't want to wait." She then tosses the keys at me and I say, "Sorry, I don't work here. I haven't worked here for 10 years. I then looked at the medical keys and they're engraved with a number, words that say "do not copy," followed by a phone number on each one. At this point, I try to explain, trying real hard to keep it civil. These are security keys. You need a locksmith and permission from the owner of the keys. The Karen says, "Just make them already and quit crying about it. If you don't work here, why would you know so much?" She said that with a snarky gotcha grin. Again, I say to her, "I don't work here. Do I look like an employee, ma'am?" Trying to give her back the keys. The woman then says loudly, "Don't you ma'am me, you fat idiot." I then point to the kid with the ladder to get the key blanks and say, "He can help you, ma'am." And off I go to find my pins and get my other stuff. The Karen goes up to the kid and she demands keys, and the kid says, "Sorry, but there's people in front of you, ma'am." He then eyes me as I walk past him, and I mouth, "Sorry," to him. Karen then screams, "He refused to help me. He's useless." I didn't hear the reply. I just went after my other items, wishing someone would boot her in the rear. I'm about to go back to get my keys made, and I'm on the other side of the store. I look up to a large dude with a red nose, and he's wearing dark blue pinstripe dress pants and an untucked white dress shirt, and he's standing at the head of the aisle, waving someone over. And oh, he also looks drunk. At this point, my gut starts screaming as our eyes meet. The Karen then comes out of nowhere, popping around the corner, with a vicious asinine grin, throwing 4 keys at me, demanding, "Make my keys or else." Me, getting more annoyed than before, say, "Or else what? I don't work here, ma'am. I can't. I don't even know anything about that type of machine." The whole time I'm saying that, I'm studying the waistline of the dude, since it looks kind of off, thinking he has a holster in his pants on the right side. The dude is now coming towards me, and he screams, "Make her damn keys, now, or else." He says that maliciously. As he marches up to me, he trips on a short wing stack of something, the flat on his face crunching sort of fall. That's when Karen runs over to the dude, as he seems frozen for a second or two, with straight, shivering legs in the air. Before they get bent, he starts to get off the wing stack. His shirt sliding up exposed 2 expensive-looking hammerheads, and one had scraped his side pretty good. I was relieved he wasn't packing. The Karen then yells, "You! Look what you did!" The man gets up with help from Karen, with blood running from his eyebrow and more pouring from his broken nose. I can see swelling starting on the right side of his face, and his eye was reddening. The dude then grabs his mouth kind of quickly, as he is swaying, with Karen holding him. And that's when he hurls through his fingers out of his broken nose, spraying drunk Karen from her cheek down, her front left side. Karen lets go and lets the dude fall backward onto his rear with a wet smack. I backed up, went down to the next aisle in front of the store, and I called the number on one of the keys, leaving a message saying that the chick's demanding copies and that the guy has a broken nose, if not his whole face. I then walk up to the cashier and ask her to call the manager. The cashier says, "Sir, they're in a meeting, why do you need one?" I then hand her the key and tell her the whole story, as the hardware kid who's making the keys earlier stops to talk to us. The kid says, "Hey, what was her problem with you?" I tell him she thought I worked here, she's in aisle so-and-so, and the guy puked all over her and everything. He also fell over a wing stack and smashed his face hard, breaking his nose, I think. The cashier says, "Really? Is it that bad?" I tell her, "Yeah." Interrupt the meeting, and that key is a security key. You might get a call on it, as I already called the number on it and filled them in. The cashier tries to talk to whoever's on the other side of the line, yelling at her. I then say, "I'm sorry, do you need anything from me?" The cashier looks upset and says, "I don't know." I then give her my info, just in case of any issues, and left to check out. I did receive a call from a security officer specialist, James, and he said they're missing 4 keys of 9 keys. And there's a reward for their recovery, even though they're no longer usable. He wouldn't say what the keys are for or for what type of business, though. Whatever it is, guys, that couple probably shouldn't have been trying to make copies of those keys. And I have a feeling they were trying to do some really shady stuff. Like, what a crazy and not to mention weird interaction, though. Like, I have so many questions. Like, the couple seemed like they were dressed up, coming from a party or something, so why would they need keys copied? Whatever the case though, OP should have gotten the cops involved because he was given some pretty good smacks by the Karen. And the guy, like, if he didn't fall flat on his face, like, I don't know what he would have done. Especially with 2 hammers in his waistband. Again, I'm very confused as to what the couple was up to. So this took place a while back, maybe a decade ago. I was heading home, but I saw the train being delayed for an extra 25 minutes, so I decided to stop by for some delicious McDonald's, mainly to avoid the task of cooking at home. So I went there, placed my order for a standard meal, no extras or anything. The guy next to me orders like 20 burgers and a bucket full of nuggets and whatnot, but no drinks, as a takeaway. So I get my meal in like 30 seconds and sit down to my closest table. The guy that was ordering next to me comes and asked if he could sit down at my table while waiting for his takeaway. To which I just nod and move my tray to the side a bit, leaving space for him to put down his helmet, gloves, and towel. It's a 4-seater table anyway, so plenty of space. The guy was wearing this baseball uniform, red pants, and red/yellow striped top. It was quite exotic overall, as baseball's not something that's common around here. I don't think much of it, only that he must be a coach for some kids team, and just keep munching away at my meal, while Mr. Baseball focuses on his phone. After about a minute, a whiny woman appears and she tells my new friend something being wrong with her order. Mr. Baseball just glances a bit upwards, not even close to eye level, and he says, "Registers are over there. Go there to complain, I don't work here." The whiny woman just stares at Mr. Baseball a bit and then proceeds to dump the 2 sundaes in his lap and asking with increasing volume, "Well, do you work here now?" And then proceeds to slap his phone out of his hand, and when it hit the floor, she kicks it like 20 feet away while cursing him out. Mr. Baseball then gets up and pushes her, and she takes a few steps back. He picks up his phone, sits back down in disbelief with a mess in his lap. After like a good 10 seconds, she theatrically falls on the ground, shouting that the employee pushed her down and she banged her head on the trash bin. I then point out for her, there's nothing where you could have hit your head in range. Besides, you attacked him, a customer. He doesn't work here obviously. Just look at what he has with him and what he's wearing. The woman stops whining for 2 seconds and crawls towards the dumpster, and then increases the volume of her whining. The commotion attracts a manager and one of many cashiers to see what's going on. The whiny Karen's voice just increases, and now her chest hurts too, and she's screaming for an ambulance. She then realizes that she was pushed from her chest, and now her accusations escalate a bit. She claims that she was assaulted sexually, that the man groped her in front of all these people. As a stroke of luck, or destined by karma, a pair of policemen arrive. Maybe they were patrolling the train station, or someone just pulled them in, or maybe they were also grabbing a snack, coffee, or drink. The manager gets them to help sort out the situation, and the accompanied cashier helps Mr. Baseball clean his uniform up. One cop tries to calm the whiny Karen down, and she screams that her ankle's broken and her pelvis is shattered, and she's traumatized from being assaulted. That's when the policeman says to her that she really shouldn't be rolling around on that disgusting McDonald's floor at the train station around rush hour. Hearing him say that shuts her up, and she gets up from the floor quickly. Suddenly, her broken ankle and pelvis are healed miraculously, but she still feels that she was abused by a McDonald's worker, and she demands he lose his job for pushing her. And she still doesn't get it. Mr. Baseball does not work here, and he didn't push her over, obviously. The manager gets back with the other cop in a minute, and the cop states that the security footage clearly shows the woman attacking Mr. Baseball and attempting to destroy his property, which he was entitled to defend, especially as that didn't cause any harm to her. That's when the whiny Karen starts to scream, but the cop calmly interrupts her by stating that there was 10 seconds between the push and her falling over. She clearly hadn't lost balance due to the push, and that she's clearly faking the entire episode. And this is the point where Karen slaps the cop hard, and she screams something that Mr. Baseball should be arrested. She then went higher pitch that I can't understand. The other cop instantly twists her arm behind her back and cuffs her, and she keeps whining and whining and whining, fighting the cops, trying to get free. Most of the people in the restaurant are leaving, but hey, it's a dinner and a show, so I'm not going yet. The cop then says that she's being arrested and asks Mr. Baseball if he wants to make a report out of it. He just says that his phone's okay, as it's a heavy-duty case, and his clothes need a wash anyways, and he just wants to leave. The cops are okay with that, and so is the manager. Justice is served, as the woman got arrested. And did she get what she ordered? Absolutely, that's a great yes. But let's finish the story, about her dessert. At this point, Mr. Baseball went to the registers to grab his food, as his order was ready ages ago. He picks up his 3 bags of food and starts to leave. As he's turning to leave, Karen kicks him in his shin and she spits in his face. Now for a split second, I think she got away with it, but Mr. Baseball falls down towards her and he headbutts her with all of his strength. Even the carpet crumpled a bit while wearing his helmet. It was clear as day. Pow, right in the kisser. Even as the 2 cops are holding her, she falls down and she's spitting out her teeth on the floor. That's when the cop screams that everyone needs to leave the store. And I never got to see what happened next. I'm assuming they both got in trouble after that. You know what, guys? All I can say is a person can only take so much, right? And the dessert that Karen was served, holy cow. Like, you know what they say, guys. If you F around enough, you will find out. And honestly, Karen should have kept the kick and her spit to herself. And now she's missing teeth. Like, it's crazy how some people are like this, though. If they don't get what they want from someone, they will do whatever they can to ruin that person. And Karen, I get that the baseball shirt was yellow and red, but damn, that's not what employees wear. And that, my friends, brings us to another end of our /IDontWorkHereLady. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the stories today. If you did, hit that thumbs up, and if you missed the last episode on the channel, I'll link it right here. It's an r/entitled People episode, where Karens are running crazy, getting arrested. You guys gotta go check it out, and myself and Stevie Boy will see you guys in the next one. We love you.